Hi, I'm Harry Stinson. Welcome to the Condo Show. Boy, do we have an agenda for you today. 5 major items on the agenda. Number 1, the Stinson School itself, progress of what's happening here, and we're going to take a look at the remaining very special units here. Second, and sort of a sub of Stinson School, is Hamilton itself. A lot of people have some misimpressions of this city, and you'll want to come and learn something about Hamilton, which is, I think, the last frontier in terms of real estate opportunity in Canada. Third, we're going to go across the border into Niagara Falls, New York, the Hotel Niagara, a very special project we're just launching down there. Back to Hamilton, the Hamilton Grand, a small boutique hotel with some amazing prices. Stay tuned for that one. Last but not least, our investment fund that will allow you to get involved personally as an individual in development projects right at the ground floor, get a very, very good return, and it's RRSP eligible. So stay with us here on the Condo Show. Okay, now before we talk about the Stinson School itself, of course the elephant in the room is Hamilton. And you know, I had the same impression as a lot of people may still have. Hamilton, steel town, and really, you think that's a safe place to invest? Well, I came down to Hamilton 4 years ago and I was surprised. I was very surprised. Now, first of all, when you come to Hamilton, you have to come in on the 403, not across the Burlington Bridge looking at the downtown from the steel mills, but around through Cootes Paradise to the Royal Botanical Gardens and take a look at the real old Hamilton. It's enormous, it's surprising, it's green. It's like you would expect, well, actually it has the same geography as Vancouver in a way. It's surrounded by the escarpment, and nestled down along the bay is an old town. In fact, Hamilton was more prosperous than Toronto a century ago, and you can still see those elements. You can still see the grand old stone homes, the big old buildings. Downtown Hamilton is about to explode, I believe, and see its values double in the next few years. That's right, values double. It's still a place in Canada where you can see real opportunity to buy well-valued real estate. Let's talk again about the steel town element. You know, the Hamilton employment base is about 350,000 people in the workforce. Maybe 2% of them, 2%, still work in the steel mills. Now, that's to say that the mills are closed. They're not. In fact, they're actually doing relatively well. DeFasco is having record business down there. But most people in Hamilton are not working at the steel mills. They're working at the universities. They're working at the hospitals. They're working in the law courts. They're working in high tech. Hamilton is a contemporary town. Below the radar, things are happening in Hamilton that you would not actually believe. There are little villages and areas, Locke Street, James Street North, Ottawa Street, areas sort of like the beach, but like Queen West in downtown Toronto, except the prices are 1/2 to 1/3, which you'd find in Toronto. Again, this provides a real estate opportunity. Culture, music, entertainment. There are 3 times as many people in Hamilton working in entertainment, culture, and tourism as there are in the steel mills. It's unbelievable the difference down here. So I'm encouraging you again to come down to Hamilton, come along the 403, come into the downtown core, see downtown Hamilton, and see a real estate opportunity that does not exist in Toronto by any means. Okay, let's talk about the Stinson School itself. Now, I got to tell you, the Stinson School is not an ego trip. I did not name the building after myself for any other reason than it was already named that. The Stinson School was built on Stinson Street in 1894 in a neighborhood that was built by Ebenezer Stinson, who was one of the original developers of downtown Hamilton in the mid-1800s. I could not make any of this stuff up, and when the Stinson School came up for sale in 2009 from the Hamilton School Board, could I say no? I had to bid on it. So here we are in the original Stinson School on Stinson Street in the Stinson neighborhood of Hamilton. Great address, don't you think? In any case, let's talk a little bit about the Stinson School and the neighborhood itself. Now, the neighborhood is a very important part because often loft projects, particularly in Toronto, are located in actually industrial type neighborhoods. You know, it's not really a place you can walk the dog or get a quart of milk or anything. You're in a neighborhood of, you know, perhaps car repair shops or whatever, but there's not much around it. The Stinson neighborhood was one of the original residential neighborhoods of Hamilton, so it's surrounded by grand old homes, brick stone homes, large properties, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square feet, a real residential established neighborhood right in the downtown core of Hamilton. You could walk to the GO station in 10 minutes. You can walk into the center core in 10, 15 minutes. Everything is within walking distance. The Niagara Escarpment is right behind the school, literally out the back door of the school, and you're on the Bruce Trail. You can walk or bike for hundreds of miles. There's a whole escarpment of greenery right behind the school itself, as I say, in a real neighborhood. Now, Another thing I want to talk a little bit about is the actual building itself. Again, 1894 original construction for one of the buildings. The second phase was 1914. But you're talking about a building that was built for people. This is not an old warehouse, an old industrial factory building where really it was just for machinery, and there'd be long, deep spaces with maybe some windows at the far end. The school was built for kids. It was built in 1894. They did not have a lot of electric lights at that time, so their way of lighting the classrooms was windows, big windows. So you have pretty much all the suites with these enormous windows up to 12 feet high. The ceilings in the suites are 13 feet. That's our basic ceiling, is 13 feet. In the attic, in the penthouse area, the ceiling goes up to 24 feet. So again, you have to come down to the Stinson School and see it to believe it, as it were. But you're looking at the original maple floors. These have been here for 100 years, trod upon by hundreds, thousands, millions of students going in and out of the building. They are pretty darn solid. And I got to tell you, a 100-year-old solid maple floor in a classroom is a hell of a lot more reassuring than a brand new product with a 2-year warranty on it. The building itself has character. The stairs are 17 feet wide with walnut treads and mahogany banisters. The actual building's architecture is castle-like, Romanesque, as it says. Come down to the Stinson School, 200 Stinson Street in Hamilton. It's an eye-popper of a building. It's sitting on an acre and a half of land in a wonderful old residential neighborhood. There is no loft project like this in Toronto, guaranteed, certainly none called the Stinson School, and the prices here are half, a third, which you'd find in Toronto. When it's finished, just like the Cannery Factory lofts, the Stinson School prices will double. A great opportunity. Come down now. We only have about 24 units left. Okay, if you're looking for an investment property, you can't do much better than our next subject, and that's the Hamilton Grand. Hamilton Grand is obviously in Hamilton, but here's the special thing. Here's the unusual thing. The prices start for, wait for it, from $49,000 for the offices, and from $89,000 for the that's right, from $89,000 for the residential units. Now, the special part about this building, and I'll be clear about it, it's an investment property. This is not somewhere you're going to move your family. $89,000 does not get you a 4-bedroom apartment in the building. This is a condominium hotel. And let me describe the building a little bit. It is basically 3 sections. At the grade level, retail, there are storefront units there. They in fact range again from $50,000, $80,000, $90,000, up to a grand total of $299 for the corner unit, though I think we're just about to sell that one. But essentially for under $100,000, retail and commercial units on the ground floor in a prime location in downtown Hamilton. On the second and third floors are the offices. Now, these are individually titled offices. You can own your own private little office suite there, or you can buy it and rent it out. And these again start from $50,000. Most of them are under $100, $79, $89, a few at $129, but basically $100,000 and under for a finished office condominium unit in, again, a prime commercial location in Hamilton. So as a user or as an investment property, a really unusual opportunity. On the upper floors, which would be 4, 5, and 6, that's the residential component, and it's a condominium hotel. It's a rental pool. It is run as a rental investment property. We're going to talk a little bit more about how that works in a few minutes, but those suites will range from as low as $80,000. Most of them are $80,000 to $100,000. A few are in the $120,000 to $130,000 range. And again, those prices are real. This is a brand new building. These are fully furnished suites. These are turnkey investment units for approximately $100,000. You cannot touch that in Toronto. And as dynamic as the Toronto market is, as interesting as the architecture is, as exciting as a place as Toronto is to live, $100,000 in Toronto gets you what? Parking space at the Ritz-Carlton? It does not get you an apartment. In Hamilton, where the market is just catching up, this is a rare investment opportunity. The Hamilton Grand, starting from $90,000 in the residential suites. Look at our website, hamiltongrand.ca. Drop into our sales office at 200 Stinson Street in Hamilton. All right, now let's talk about how Hamilton Grand works. How does it work as an investment for you? And it is an investment. The Hamilton Grand is an apartment hotel. All the suites on the 4th, 5th, and 6th floors are in a rental pool. The revenues, whether for annual rentals, for monthly rentals, for nightly rentals, even for room service, are consolidated. They are pooled, they are put in one large pot together. So it doesn't matter whether your suite is rented or the suite down the hall is rented, or whether yours is rented for $900 and the other for $1,000 for a night, for a month. It doesn't matter. All of those revenues are pooled. This provides fairness, so you do not have to worry, was my suite rented, was his suite rented, did they charge more for mine, less for his? Doesn't matter. It's all pooled revenue. Now, once that's done, we take the same approach with the expenses. So we consolidate the utilities, the telephone, the management, the marketing. All of the costs are, again, pooled. You take the costs from the revenue, and then you have a net bottom line, which is divided on an equal basis amongst all the unit owners. Now, I don't mean exactly equal, because some suites are a little larger, some are a little smaller. There is a grid system. There's a point share factor for each suite. So there's a predetermined share of the revenue, of the net revenue, that each person gets. So you have complete fairness on the revenue, you have complete fairness on the cost, and you have complete fairness on the division. You do not have to worry about whether your suite was rented. Every month you get revenue from the pool. Another reason why the pooling is extremely important for you as an owner of a suite in a rental facility is this provides a consistency of guest experience. And what I mean by that is anybody who's staying there, whether it's night, month, or annual, anybody who's staying there knows the quality they're going to get no matter which suite they're staying in. There's a consistency which is great for word of mouth. It's great for online social media, Twittering, and all that. And it's also very, very important for the purposes of referral, because again, the Hamilton market now is heavily academic and medical, and these are the referral sources, whether it's McMaster University or Hamilton Health Sciences or St. Joe's Hospital. These are the people who will be staying there, and they talk amongst themselves, and they have their accommodation departments. They refer people to places to stay. If they know they can count on a certain quality of accommodation consistently at that facility, they are going to come, they are going to stay, and they are going to pay the price. We will provide the best accommodation facility in Hamilton at a reasonable price, and then there'll be a fair revenue share for each owner of a suite. That's a good deal, I think. In real estate, they say the magic words are location, location, and location. Well, the Hamilton Grand is location. In Hamilton, it is dead central. The corner of Main and John is right center of the downtown financial core, the commercial district. It's walking distance to about a half a dozen major hospitals. It's walking distance to Cops Coliseum. It's walking distance to the Farmers Market. It's a block away from the GO train station. It is about as dead central as you could ask for. The major courts are across the street. All the major office towers are within walking distance. City Hall, everything downtown central that you'd want to walk to, restaurants, entertainment, whatever, it's all there. King and Main go right past this building. It's on the major transit lines. It is totally central. And this is critically important because the demographic of the tenants for the Hamilton Grand is going to be the universities and the hospitals. So convenience is there, location is there, the transit is there, shopping is there, entertainment is there, restaurants are there. Hamilton Grand as a location for an apartment hotel in Hamilton is about as good as it gets. Furthermore, it's visible. This corner is right on Main Street, and Main Street is the in street to Hamilton. Hamilton has that sort of one-way system where you're coming into downtown Hamilton along Main Street, and you're coming right towards the Hamilton Grand. It is sitting in a very unique situation because in front of it, as you're coming toward it, the block in front of it is a setback park area for the front of McMaster Downtown Campus. So you will see this building in front of you as you're coming into downtown Hamilton. Dead center, you cannot miss this. The style, the colors, this is where you're going to stay. So Hamilton Grand, best location in downtown Hamilton. Now I'm sure we caught your attention there with the price. That's right, $100,000. In fact, some of them from $90,000. $100,000 for an apartment, a rental apartment? What's the catch? Did I hear it right? Is that the parking space? $100,000 basically in Hamilton Grand gets you a fully furnished suite. Now it's small. I'm not going to tell you this is a 3-bedroom apartment. This is a very functional studio apartment. It is designed to the nines. Things fold in and out of the wall. Think of this as a Swiss Army knife apartment. Whether it's the bed folding in and out of the wall or the desk or the kitchen, everything is in this apartment. So this is a fully furnished turnkey perfect lifestyle apartment for a single, you know, and you get your laundry included, you get the housekeeping included. I mean, it is a complete brain dead space for a person who's a single living downtown and active to live. Everything's there, minimal housekeeping. You've got your little kitchenette in it, there's laundry on the floor, everything's right in front of you there. Walk to the train station. These suites are compact. $100,000 gets you something that is meticulously planned, solidly built, consistently furnished. And that is important. The furnishings, the accoutrements, the linens, the towels, everything in there, the TVs, the technology, it's all consistent. It's first rate, it's top quality, it's durable, it's provided with the apartment. You don't need to worry about the maintenance. And one thing we do as part of the rental pool, we set aside 5% of the gross revenue. So for example, if the annual revenue in this building is $2 million for the rental pool, that's $100,000 is set aside annually for repairs, maintenance, replacement. You never get a cash call. You never get a problem. You never have to unplug a toilet. You never have to replace a TV. We do it for you. It's all done. These apartments are the most stress-free investment you will get. And for $100,000, it's hard to say you can't lose, but really it's a pretty stable investment. And when you compare that, let's the elephant in the room, let's do this. When you compare that to what you get in Toronto, it's a pretty easy investment. The numbers in Hamilton work. The numbers at the Hamilton Grand work. An apartment for $100,000, you see positive cash flow. You're going to see capital gain. This is a good investment. Contact us at hamiltongrand.ca. Our telephone number 289-389-1377. Go to the website, come to the sales office. You can buy it online for $100,000. Save the gas. Just send us the money. Now, as I've been saying, the Hamilton Grand is about investment. These condominiums are owned by individuals like you who would buy a suite for the specific and sole purpose of generating income, generating revenue, generating cash flow, generating a profit. Let's talk about those numbers. First of all, I want to emphasize again, it is a rental pool. So all the revenues that come in, whether they're daily, monthly, or annual, or even the services to the guests, are pooled. Let's look at those revenues. From the hotel, and I'm using an average rate here of $149.95 a night, so very competitive, and these are suites, so this is the best value in town in Hamilton. At $150 a night, we're looking at occupancy over a year, revenues of about $1,300,000, $1,280,000 to be exact. On the monthly basis, now this would be a little different. This is at $2,400. We're assuming $80 a night. These are people who are staying for a minimum 30-day stay, 30 to 60 days, professionals on contract stay, and there we're looking at just over $800,000, $829,000 to be exact. On the annual basis, these are people staying for the entire year who are just working at the hospitals, university. They just want a simple place to stay and live. We have a great package for them. It includes a furnished suite, full accommodation, housekeeping, breakfast. It's a great deal, $12.95 a month, but not that much of the building will be for that, so we're only looking at about $250,000 a year from this particular section. Now, these are assumptions. The ratio we've used is approximately 40% hotel, 40% extended stay, 20% on the annuals. These may vary. The manager of the hotel has the right and has the duty to juggle these around to maximize the bottom line of total revenue coming in, bearing in mind that the hotel will generate higher revenues in theory, but the long term is stable, never a vacancy if they're there for a year. But all in all, when you add in the services, again, these like room service, extra cleaning, etc., we're looking at a total revenue per year from this pool of approximately $2.5 million, $2,430,000 to be exact. From that, we take off 5% right off the top, is set aside for you as an owner into a reserve fund, which is used for the specific purpose of repairs, maintenance, cleanup, anything that goes wrong in the suite, whether it's a fridge that breaks or a spill in the carpet or repainting that needs to be done, is done for you from this pool. It's a mandatory reserve fund for repairs and maintenance. It makes your ownership completely stress and problem free. So in the end, we're looking at a net that comes out of this of just over $2.3 million in gross revenues. Alrighty, so the good news is that we brought in $2.5 million in revenue for the rental pool. That is all put in the pot. But out of that pot are going to come the expenses. Fixed expenses would be the salaries of the people who are running the program for you, the manager, the leasing people, the housekeeper. the people on site who make this rental program stress-free for you. All in all, there's about $138,000 in expenses just to staff alone. On top of that, marketing, administration, insurance. The innkeeper's policy and liability takes care of all the contents for you. You don't have to get your own insurance policy. Repairs, maintenance, technology, phone, internet. All in all, added up, $244,000 in fixed expenses to run this pool for you. On the variable side, we have more housekeeping and breakfast, things like that all together. For the dailies, all in all, your expenses there is running about $250,000 a year, $256,000 to be exact. On the monthly, nearly $70,000. We'd only be going in once a week to clean on the monthly basis, and the same with the annual, about $30,780 for the annual expenses for the rental program. Repairs, maintenance, utilities for each of the suite, water, hydro, etc. Credit card costs, the commissions for people referring customers and tenants to the facility, and the management costs. All in all, when you add up the expenses, they come to just over $1 million. Our revenue, $2.4 million net of the reserve fund. So your net, in the end, for the pool, your net revenue to distribute to the owners is $1.4 million. Okay, so this is the really important part. There's going to be a test after this. The distribution to the individual owners. Again, we've got about $1.5 million to distribute to the owners. Each suite is allocated a point, a share. So a slightly larger suite would get a different point than a studio would be 1 point as the base one. A larger suite might be 1.1, 1.2. But each suite is assigned a share. I'm talking in terms of the studio suite now. It'll all work out in the same numbers in the end because everything's based on this point share system. So it's all fair consistently. When we divide the total revenues by the total points, it brings us out to just over $12,000, $12,234 per suite on an annual basis for distribution. From that, deduct the condo fees at $200 a month for a studio, and the property tax is $1,500. And then we also take off the mortgage. We're using a rate here for this example of a 4% rate, which is on average now for a 3-year term, $4,734 per year. Again, this is on a $100,000 studio, 25% down, 75% mortgage. So that leaves us with $3,600 net cash flow per year. Now, that's important. In Toronto, you are never going to see a net cash flow. Never, ever, ever. If you only lose $3,600 in your condo in Toronto, that's a big breakthrough. At the Hamilton Grand, you're netting cash flow of $3,600. In this particular example, it's not a guarantee, this is a particular example. On top of that, factor in that you are paying down every year part of the principal on the mortgage, so that's another $3,000 in this example. So your effective annual return is $6,600 for this studio apartment. Bearing in mind you put down $25,000, 25% equity, that is a effective annual return of 26%. Now that sounds pretty good, 26% effective return. I'm emphasizing this is an example. We'll gladly send you the spreadsheet. We'll gladly send you the whole number factor variance so you can look at this and work it out yourself, plug in the numbers, play with it, make sure this works for you. But the key to this Hamilton Grand rental program is the base cost of the suite. At $100,000, you are starting off way ahead of the game. It's very hard to be negative on this. It provides you with an affordable rental property, fully managed with a very good return. Call us at the sales office, 289-389-1377, or email info@hamiltongrand.ca. That's info@hamiltongrand.ca. Check the website. We will send you this spreadsheet. We will send you the example. Again, it's not a guarantee, but you'll see from it, but this makes a lot of sense. The numbers work in Hamilton. All right, now I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about investing in real estate, but investing at a higher level, shall we say. Let me roll back the clock a little bit and explain some of the background, some of the things that I've learned about being involved in development in the way I have been over the years. Now, as I mentioned as you've seen, the projects I'm generally involved in are different. They are not your formula high-rise buildings. Each one has a different characteristic, and frankly, each one at its time, at its beginning, was looked at with some skepticism by the experts, by the market, by the realtors even. I don't know if that'll work. I don't know if it's the right time. I don't know if it's the right place. And I have to say that, these projects have consistently been successful. They have proven to be visionary. I don't want to sound pompous with the word, but they have proven to be visionary developments that exploded in value far more than the rest of the real estate market. Now, how did those happen? The unfortunate part, or the challenging part about real estate development, is it's not like a lemonade stand and it's not like writing software. There's huge financial capital costs in the development business. That's why developers were unwilling to actually try the loft projects when I brought the idea to them in the early 90s, because development is extraordinarily capital intensive, millions of dollars up front simply to start a project, to test it, to buy that land, to tie it up, to do the design, to do the development, to take it to the market, to see whether people would actually buy it. It's enormously expensive. It's a big risk. That's not the sort of thing you can take to the bank and say, hey fellas, I got a really good idea. You want to take a flyer on it? And they say, yeah, I don't think so. We're a bank. We don't do flyers. Now, of course, the irony of that is you look at the really prosperous part of the economy now, which is high tech. If you went into a high tech office and said, hey, I've got an investment idea for you guys. It's been done hundreds of times before. There's all kinds of products like it on the market. There's nothing innovative in it whatsoever. Would you like to invest? They'd look at you like you were crazy. But that's exactly the mentality for real estate funding for condominiums. We want it to be a square box. We want it to be exactly the same. We want the usual suspects building the same thing in the same place. And that, of course, is not what Harry Stinson does. I come up with interesting new buildings and people say, wow, that's exciting. But who says that? Who are the people that say, wow, that's exciting? It's not the bankers. It's individuals. It's people like you. It's entrepreneurs. It's professionals. It's individuals who can look at a building like One King, like the Candy Factory, like the Stinson School, like the Hotel Niagara, and they say, wow, I like that. That will be really cool. How can I get involved? Now, traditionally, investing in condominiums has meant, for the individual, I want to buy a suite. I'll put down some money and I hope it'll go up in value. You know, and that's a very valid way of doing it. But you have to look at the market, particularly the Toronto market now, and think, putting down money, it's going to go up. Like, where is it going to go up? From $600 a foot to $1,000 a foot? It's getting pretty risky to use that same process in Toronto now, because the escalation needs to keep going on. What happens when the music stops? It may stabilize, it may drop. That's a problem. What I'm suggesting to you is there's a different way of getting involved in real estate, and I'd like to offer you this opportunity. I'd like to offer you the opportunity to be part of our fund, part of our actual development business. When we find something that's interesting, we have to buy it, of course. We have to lock it up. There's an amount of money, usually millions of dollars at the beginning, that we use from private equity investors, people like yourselves, to secure that land, to start the ball rolling with the project. And once it's rolling, we don't use investor money for the whole thing. Of course, we use bank construction money for the latter part, which is single-digit money. But those investors who were involved in the project at the very beginning make double-digit returns. They do very, very well. So we're now starting a fund where you can get involved with us directly. Now, the very interesting part of this fund is we have found a way of making it RRSP eligible. You can use the funds, which currently are probably sitting there earning 1 or 2% at best, perhaps earning nothing. You can use your RRSP funds in our projects directly, and it'll be based on a standard rate of return. It'll be based on a lengthy period of time. It's not something you need to worry about every day. We're offering you the opportunity to join with us in changing cities, in revitalizing amazing buildings, in being part of the development world, investing in a business that is totally understandable. You can see it, touch it, feel it. It's not like high tech or medicine or anything like that. You can go and touch that building and say, you know, I understand what you're doing. Food and shelter, it's an amazing landmark, it's in a great location. So register now at stinsondevelopments.com. There'll be a little button for you there, stinsondevelopments.com. Register now for further information on our development fund. Well, thanks for watching The Condo Show. I'm Harry Stinson. Just a reminder, we're here every night at midnight. That's every night at midnight here on The Condo Show. Our website, stinsondevelopment.com. Our telephone number, 289-389-1377. Today we talked about the Stinson School. We talked about the Hotel Niagara, the Hamilton Grand, and our exciting new investment fund where you can earn very generous returns which are RRSP eligible. Our telephone number again, 289-389-1377. The website, stinsondevelopments.com. Good night.